of course, now the planned timing and closure of Luby's restaurant, a Houston institution, a Texas institution. So many of us grew up going there. So many of us still go there. Grace White is one of those folks. Grace, you've got quite the story that you're cooking up tonight, pun intended here.
You know, Mia, this is news that's really hard to believe for so many native Houstonians and people who grew up in Texas, really. I mean, you and I both grew up going to Lubys as a child, and I actually had the chance to interview my grandmother tonight. She's 87 years old. I remember her taking me to Lubys to get that Luann platter when I was, you know, just a little kid. And we would actually do this thing called Manor School. She would take us there and we'd practice saying please and thank you and saying a prayer before our meal. And Mia, it's just, it brings back so many memories of our family and my childhood.
Yeah, that's why I say it's bittersweet, you know, because it's fun to remember all of these great events in our lives. You know, I know so many people who personally went there every Sunday after church. That's what they did. The family went to church, and then afterwards they went and they had lunch at Luby's. My family, sometimes we would go multiple times a week. And, you know, even as a young adult, I was going by myself. My husband and I went there when we were dating still. You know, even current day, the producers here in-house know that, Mia, what are you going to get for dinner tonight? Oh, I think I'm going to swing by Luby's. I'm going to pick up a cup of vegetable soup and a piece of jalapeno cornbread. Trying to avoid the carrot cake and the German chocolate cake because I loved the desserts just as much, too. And I know we've been hearing from people all day long on Facebook ever since we posted the story, and there's some common themes here. A lot of people posting no, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation point. Other people posting the sad face emoji. So there's a lot of love for this restaurant that has been around for decades in Texas.
There is, and Mia, you helped me rediscover some of the recipes. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. You know, we both love to cook and bake, and you and I were exchanging recipes, and I asked you for help finding that date nut muffin recipe from years ago. I don't even think you can get the date nut muffin at the restaurants anymore, but it's something that I loved as a little girl, and you helped me find that. So I'm so thankful you did because you've got all these cookbooks, and now it's a recipe that I have in my kitchen and I love. I'm so glad that you helped me find that.
Yeah, you know, talking about recipes, Grace, looking at some of our comments right now, Lily Michelle Hunter posted, I'm going to miss the liver and onions. So I thought it was a deal breaker with my husband and I because the first time we went to Luby's, I ordered the liver and onions and he just looked at me like, really, you're going to eat that? But if anyone's tried it, they know all about it. It's some of the best, but there's so many classic recipes. Carol Gonzalez, she's also saying so sad. Francis Cardona, so sad, going to miss going there. Jody Ann said, where will I get my pea salad, her green pea salad? Mary Doyle saying Luby's will definitely be missed. Grace, I know you love the date nut muffin so much so you got the recipe. What else are some of your favorites?
You know, mashed potatoes, definitely a huge mashed potato fan growing up, and their macaroni. I mean, you really can't go wrong. They had so many good vegetables. It was just that comfort food, you know, that always tasted like home. You and I have talked about that. And I did also like the clover leaf rolls. So all the starches and bread.
I know. You know, my mother would always tell us, like, we're going to Luby so we can eat healthy, but somehow we would still end up with dessert on our plates, you know, a large glass of sweet tea. I mean, that was the only thing I would drink when I would go to Luby's as well, too. So many people sharing their memories. Cindy Williams said, I took my kids, Cassie, Lorraine Williams, and Roy, and they are grown now, but have many memories of eating there. Candace Marceau, she kind of laughed at us. She said, not liver and onions, girlfriend. Don't knock it till you try it. I'm just saying. And I have the recipe here in one of the cookbooks. Grace is right.
Oh, there it is.
So I collect cookbooks, and I have both of the Lubys cookbooks. This one dates back a few decades. This one is more recently. It was published, I think, in 2008. So I'll still be cooking up some of the recipes, and a good tidbit for anyone who's joining us who has enjoyed so many meals there and would like to continue having food similar to it. They do have posted on their website a couple recipes, a couple of favorites for folks to go there and try and enjoy. So it's so much fun.
And I think that's so neat that they make that available, and that these cookbooks are available to share that, those traditions we grew up with. I was interviewing Mia, Bill Bishop, our managing editor at KHOU, and he was remembering the lines that you used to wait in, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I remember even lines in the 80s when I was a child, lines of people on Sundays or after church or Wednesdays. I mean, it was a crowded place. And he said also it was a place that you would see people people from your neighborhood. You'd run into friends, you'd ask them how their day was, you'd ask them what they were having for lunch or dinner, and it was just that kind of place. And when he said that, I remembered kind of standing in lines as a little girl, waiting till you got up to your spot in the cafeteria line. Yeah,
so excited to get that tray, right, and that wrapped silverware in the napkins. I was always so thrilled about that. And I have to tell you, so I have family all throughout Houston, all throughout Texas. I have been to at least 20 different Lubys in my lifetime. No joke, because
they're everywhere.
They're everywhere, and that's what the family enjoyed. I have an aunt who lives out in California, and anytime she was coming back into town, guess where we were going to eat? We were going to eat at Lubys. When I went to college, I would eat at Lubys in Conroe. I went to school at Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, and yes, sometimes if we had enough gas money, we would drive south and go to Lubys and have a good meal there. So just so many memories, so much nostalgia, and so many people sharing this nostalgia with us as well. Mary Salazar Garza.
Actually, after I was going to say, after Hurricane Harvey, when KHOU temporarily relocated to University of Houston, I found a Lubys over by UH. That was my little
off a Telephone Road, I think. Yeah. Yes, you'd bust a little U-turn there on the other side of 45. Yeah, I used to go to that one too.
Drive-through, yes. Real quick in between working on stories, and it was comforting to know there was a Lubys right there. So.
Yeah. Mary Salazar Garza also joining us. She says, I'm going to miss the fried fish. I mean, who won't? I don't know if it was the fried fish or, quite frankly, the tartar sauce. That's what I love so much. I'd always ask for a double scoops of tartar sauce with the fried fish as well.
That fried fish was also a favorite. I loved the fried chicken, but as I grew up, the fried fish was definitely a favorite.
Definitely a favorite. Kristen Hughes also telling us, I just told Josh, we better order before it's gone. So many memories.
Several months. They'll be here through the summer. So they say they're going to continue to serve food in their restaurants, and they want people to come in. So they are open for business. And Mia, I need to plan to go a few more times.
Yeah, well, maybe we should make it a date, Grace. Maybe we should go together. Right?
That would be fun.
I'm gonna be going quite a bit before they close as well too. Selena said, going to miss treating my boys to date night at Lubys. Isn't that so sweet? Christian Anderson said, it's the first place my family took me to eat as a child. So many Thanksgivings. And you know what? It's interesting that Christian mentioned Thanksgiving, because oftentimes my family would always order, my mother would bake the pecan pie, but we would get the German chocolate cake from Lubys. That was a family favorite for us. I mean, my eyes just got so big as a child for the dessert, because those cakes, they were very generous with the slices at Lubys as well.
I love the chocolate pie, and Mia, I think that's really the first chocolate pie I ever had where I developed that kind of taste and craving for a chocolate pie around the holidays was at Lubys. I remember it. It was so good.
Oh, so good. Well, hey, folks, be sure to join us tonight at 10. Grace and I are going to continue walking down memory lane there as well. It's been so wonderful. Bittersweet, though, to share all of these memories. We thank you so much for joining us. Grace, I'll see you in a little bit at 10, okay?
Sounds good. See you then.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.